Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, first of all, today I am trying Facebook Lite instead of the regular Facebook to see how it works and what the difference is. But today's conversation is, it's car conversations with Sonja. You all know when I was in Jeff, I used to do those every now and then. So I felt like today I would go back and maybe start doing those again. But anyway, I made a post on yesterday and I was talking about, it's a hard pill to swallow when God lets you know that there is still work that needs to be done in your heart and on your heart in certain areas where you think, I have gotten over the trauma, I have been healed from the trauma, I have moved on. But God will allow things to come about to show you that, no, son or daughter, not necessarily so. You may have gotten healed in some areas. You may have gotten over some of the trauma, but there's still some residue left. There's still some issues left. And that was the case for me yesterday. That the Lord really had to show me, hey daughter, the word that has come across today, it hits you. It hits you in certain areas because you think that you've gotten over this trauma. You think you've gotten over this hurt. You think you've gotten over what has been said about you, the actions toward you. But in actuality, daughter, you really have not. Because you allowed people to change your mood and your attitude and your thinking process. Because there's still residue left from your trauma. There's still some issues that you haven't resolved with that trauma. There's still some heart problems that I need to show you that you need to allow me to work on. You need to allow me to cleanse and purify your heart, because the work that I have for you in the coming years require that your heart is pure and cleansed in all areas concerning all trauma and situations. Because the next time that trauma or that situation comes, you have to be able to say, I recognize it, I've been here, and this is what I have to do. I'm being very transparent because we don't like to be transparent, especially as saints of God, children of God. We don't like to be transparent. Even in a ministry, we don't like to be transparent about some things. Now, there are some things in both aspects you cannot be transparent about. But then there are those little things that you can be transparent about, but we want to act like we got it all together. I do not have it all together. I'm a work in progress. I thought I was over a certain trauma, certain issue, certain situation that I've been dealing with for almost a decade. I thought I was over it. Actually, I've really been dealing with it, if I'm honest, all of my life. But I thought I was over the hardest part, or the part that has really stung the most in the last 5 to 10 years. But on yesterday, God let me know, daughter, no, you're not. No, you're not. You got residue. You still got issues in your heart. You still got trauma in your heart. You still need to be delivered in your heart. You still need to be cleansed. You still need to forgive in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, in your spirit. You still need to forgive and let go. And you haven't. So guess what? I needed to show you that I'm requiring you to do this. And I'm not giving you long to do it. I'm requiring you to get it done now. Work on it now. Allow me to do it now. Because I have much work for you to do. And I don't have the time. You don't have the time that you think that you have. Because I'm soon to return and you got work to do. So in order to get that work done, in order to get the blessings that I have for you, in order to get the things that you desire of me and the things that I desire to give to you that you never asked me for, that you don't even know I have for you, you've got to allow me to purify and cleanse your heart. You have to allow me to work on your heart. You have to allow me to show you, daughter, there's residue. Daughter, there's forgiveness that's needed. Daughter, there's trauma that you've got to deal with. And in order for you to know that, I got to show it to you. And then when I show it to you, then you have to make up your mind whether or not you're going to allow me to cleanse your heart. Allow me to purify your heart. Allow me to deal with the residue of the trauma. Allow me to deal with the trauma. Allow me to deal with the unforgiveness that you still have in a certain area. Yeah, it hurts. It's a hard hurt. It's a huge hurt. But if you allow me to work on you, if you allow me to deal with your heart, if you allow me to cleanse and purify your heart, you'll be able to deal with the hurt. You'll be able to say, you know what, I forgive. And that whatever God needs me to do, I'll be able to do it. However God needs me to minister to those individuals, I'll be able to minister. However God needs me to pray, I'll be able to pray. But daughter, you ain't going to be able to do that right now because you still got residue. You still got trauma. You still got issues in your heart that I got to work out, that I got to cleanse, that I got to purify. You still have unforgiveness that I need to deal with. Because your unforgiveness is disobedience, it's witchcraft, it's idolatry, it's all of those things that you want to say, oh no, not me. Yeah, you. But because I'm your father and I love you so much, I'm going to chastise you. I'm going to bring it to you and say, this is what you've got. This is where you are. Now, what are you going to allow me to do? Because I've put the ball in your court. I've let you know that there's an issue in your heart, that your heart has to be cleansed and it needs to be purified, and that you need to forgive. Because if you had truly forgiven and you were truly over the situations and there was no trauma and there was no residue, then when you walked into the room, when you went into the atmosphere, you wouldn't have changed. Your attitude wouldn't have changed. Your thought process wouldn't have changed. Your behavior wouldn't have changed. But it did. So I sent the word to you while you were sitting in the atmosphere to let you know you need to let it go. Because you haven't let it go. You're not really free because you're still holding on. You still have trauma. When you see the individuals, you're still triggered. You cannot say you're forgiven and you're over and there's no residue left and you're over the trauma if you are still triggered by the very thing or the very people that caused you the hurt, the harm, the trauma. You're not healed. And that's okay, because it's a process to the healing. It's like an onion. You have to keep peeling it back. So I got to keep peeling it back. Joseph got hurt and wounded and had trauma from his brothers. He didn't get over it right away. It was a process. I had to keep dealing with his heart until he was able to fully forgive and able to be the blessing that was needed for his family. So, daughter, how can I get you to see that you're not over it? Oh, I have to have this, allow this situation to happen to show you you ain't over it. You ain't finished with this. You still got trauma. You're still triggered. You still got unforgiveness. You're still holding on to something. You still trying to do repayment and vengeance. And you cannot do that. You have to allow me to handle the situation. But I got to show you first that you still holding on to stuff. I can't use you in the multitude in the way that I need to use you in that area because you still got trauma. You still dealing with residue. You still trying to hold on. You still got in your mind, well, you know what, I'm going to do this way, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that. But that is not what I'm calling you to do, daughter. What I'm calling you to do is allow me to heal you from that. I know they do you wrong. They've done your mother that's not here wrong. But she was your example of how you got to keep loving them people anyway. You got to still be able to pray for them anyway. You still got to be able to do what I need you to do. Now, granted, no, she didn't hang out with them, and I'm not requiring you to hang out with them. But what I'm requiring you to do is allow me to circumcise your heart. Allow me to cleanse your heart. Allow me to purify you. Because what I've already told you, you gotta do, you can't do it until you allow me to circumcise your heart. Until you allow me to purify and cleanse it. Until you allow me to go in and uproot that unforgiveness that you still got there because you're triggered. You can't be triggered. Because you got to be the blessing in the next few years. So in order for you to be the blessing, you got to allow me to come in and do the hard work. And I'm just being honest. When I tell you this hard. This a hard pill. But God will send you the word, the ones that he loves, the ones that he chastises, or the ones that he loves, the ones that he knows. I can trust you with what I've required of you to do. I can trust you because I've given you a powerful ministry that you're going to have to do. So I can trust you that when I show you, you got to do this, you're going to humble yourself and allow me to do it. Now, I'm not saying this feel good. I'm not saying this is easy, because it ain't. Because it hurts. But what I do know is I've asked God, I need you to purify my heart. I need you to cleanse my heart. I need you to prepare me for what I know you told me I got to do. I need you to do that. And it don't feel good. It don't feel good when you're the black sheep, when you've been ostracized, when you've been kicked to the side, when you're looked down upon, when you're talked about, when people got something to say. It don't feel good. It don't feel good at all. The ones that are supposed to love you, the ones that I didn't ask to be here, God sent me. That hurts. But it's a process that God has to take you to. And it ain't easy. It's hard. It's many nights of you not sleeping well. Many tears. Many times you got to just lay on your face and say, God, I need you to help my heart. I need you to deal with my heart. I need you to help me. I need to let it go because I know you called me to do an awesome work, but I can't do it because my heart is not right in the place you need it for that work. Yeah, it may be right in other areas, but there is a powerful area that God can be calling you to, that God is saying, I can't can't work with you right now because your heart hasn't been purified and cleansed because of the past trauma that you've been through. And it ain't easy. I'm here to tell you, it ain't easy by the long shot. It's not easy. It don't feel good. None of that. But what I know is, if I'm totally surrendered to God, if I say, God, I give you my life, I give you my life. It's your will and not my will. That means sometimes he gonna bring some hard things to me and say, guess what, daughter? In this area, yeah, we got work to do. And we ain't got long to get the work done because I got to get you going because I'm soon to come. But there's a work that you got to finish. There are blessings and promises that I have to give to you. So you ain't got time to keep waddling in what they did 10, 15, 20 years ago. You got to let it go. And you got to recognize it ain't about them. It's about you. Because I've called you. I've chosen you. And I gotta bless you. But I can't bless you till I cleanse and purify your heart in this area. The blessings, some of them that I have for you, are contingent on your heart posture. But we don't want to talk about our heart posture. We want to talk about everybody else's. It ain't about everybody else's heart. It's about your heart. Your posture of your heart and what God wants to do in your heart. Because believe it or not, your blessings that God has for you, they're not just for you. They're for those that are attached to you. Now, do you really want to hinder that? I made a live several months ago how God had to chastise me about my son and his previous job. I was holding up what God wanted to do to him, wanted to do for him, because of what I wanted to do, how I wanted to handle the situation, how I wanted to get revenge, how I wanted to fix it. But the moment God let me know, daughter, you're holding up his blessings because he's already let it go, but you still holding on. I repented. I cried all the way to work. I repented and I let it go. And the moment that I let it go, God began to do what he needed to do with my son in this job. Tremendously so. But I was holding up his blessing because of something I'm trying to, I'm a mama bear. So, hey, you done did my son wrong. Now, this, that, and God is like, but vengeance is mine. I repay. You ain't got to worry about that. I know what that man did to him. I know what he said. I know how he treated him. But it's my job to do the repayment. It's my revenge. My job to handle that, not yours. It's your job to forgive, to pray, forgive, and let it go. So again, whatever blessings God has for me, they affect my son. They affect a lot of people that are attached to me. I don't know what God is going to do for them, but what I do know is my disobedience, my Jezebel spirit, my walking in idolatry and witchcraft is harming not just me, not hindering just me, but it's hindering God from doing whatever else he's going to do for those that are attached to me. Now, some of y'all are like, well, how is your not forgiving? Or how is your holding on to the trauma? And how is your being the way that you were yesterday? How is that idolatry and witchcraft? Because it is. Because it's not of God. And it's disobedient. I don't have the time right now. But if I had the time, I would go to the scriptures and show you. It is idolatry and it is witchcraft. It is disobedience. When we do not do what God is telling us, when we're not forgiving, when we're holding on to stuff, when we're keeping record of stuff. And believe me, I am not going to lie. I am guilty in this situation because I sure been keeping track and keeping record. That ain't what God told me to do. He ain't told me to do none of that. I am supposed to forgive them, love them, and move on and let it go. But that's not what I've been doing. So God had to let me know yesterday, daughter, you need to let this go. You holding on to something that you ain't got no business holding on to. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you know this is where you are, and then I'm going to wait for your response. Now either you're going to come to me and you're going to say, God, I need your help. God, I need da-da-da-da-da. Or you just going to keep walking in disobedience. Now what you going to do? And I said what I was going to do. I asked God to purify and cleanse my heart and help me to truly forgive and let go. Because sometimes some hurts are so deep and so hard that we can't let it go. But we have to in order for us to get the promises and the blessings that God has for us. All right, you all. Hey, my sister, Minister Bishop. Good morning to you. Blessings to you and my brother, your husband. May y'all be blessed on today. All right, you all. I have made it to work and I'm getting ready to go inside, but I just felt led to share that on my heart as car conversations. So who knows? I may have another car conversation in the near future. I don't know. So I hope that this has helped and ministered and blessed somebody, because I know that it was definitely for me on today. Thank you, Minister Bishop, for putting 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 23 in there. That talks about rebellion is likened unto witchcraft and stubbornness is likened unto idolatry and iniquity. I appreciate her for putting that in there, because that's exactly what God wanted me to understand and know. You got to get it right, daughter. I got much work for you to do. And if you're not pliable in my hands,